Knuckle deep thoughts.
What's up, assholes? It's the Filthy Mouth Gamer, back with another episode of Knuckle Deep Thoughts. Today, I'm playing Fury, and our discussion today will be about the mainstream media. And the reason I'm going to bring this topic up, it's actually for a couple reasons. A couple weeks ago, we heard about the whole Donald Trump fake news shit with CNN. He called them fake news and all that other shit. If you never heard about that shit, I don't know what to fucking tell you. The other reason I'm bringing it up is because in about, I'd say a couple months, there's something called the White House Correspondents' Dinner. And I saw it advertised on the internet. And what that is, it's everybody at the White House, all the staffers, the president, vice president, all that shit. They get together with all the media, the major media people, not just people on TV or journalists, but the heads of the corporations also. And they ham it up with each other, they hang out, they goof around, they make fun of each other, and all that other shit. And I want to start by saying that the fact that there's such a thing is fucking ridiculous. Journalists, true journalists, and politicians should not be fucking friends. That's insane. Journalists, or the press, they used to be looked at as the fourth branch of government. When all the other branches were fucking around, they would at least hold them to a high standard. Ask them the right questions. Don't throw them softballs. Just basically keep them on the up and up. We don't have that today because, they like to rub elbows together at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, because they're a bunch of fucking millionaires, all of them, and they all go to the same fucking cocktail parties, and, they all enjoy each other's company. That's ridiculous. The politicians should be afraid and should hate the press. That's when democracy works. Instead, the shit we have undermines democracy. Now, you say, well, how the fuck is that? Well, let's say the president, it doesn't have to be Trump, Obama, Bush, whoever the fuck you want to throw up there, is asked a question by a journalist or a person in the press that puts them on the spot and that makes them uncomfortable. Now, what's going to happen is that president, not directly, he's going to probably go through one of his staffers, is going to contact the head of that media company and is going to threaten not getting any press or getting their press credentials taken away at a fucking press conference if they don't play ball and ask him the easy shit. And that's why you have most people, they're not asking real questions. And if they do, they don't last too long. Back in, I would say 2003, on MSNBC, the highest rated show was Phil Donahue. And Phil Donahue was really outspoken against the war in Iraq. And I think we all can agree the war in Iraq was bullshit. But at the time, most people were for the Iraq war, and I will throw myself in there too. I'm included. I was for the Iraq war. I was a fucking idiot. I'm not afraid to admit that. But Phil Donahue was one of the very few people that spoke out against it. And he was fired for that. Even though he had the highest rated show on the fucking channel, he was still fired. Now, they didn't say we fired him because he felt this way about Iraq, but it was pretty much obvious. Why else would you fire the guy that's the head of the highest rated show unless there's some sort of scandal, which there wasn't, or he rubbed the wrong people the wrong way. Now, shit wasn't always like this. You know, you go back to like the 50s and the 60s, and I'm talking about TV news, and the networks, they took the news as like a loss. They didn't really have commercials. They weren't making money on it. They were doing it like as a service to the country and to the people watching. But in 1968, a little show called 60 Minutes started. And it got a shitload of viewers. It was a good show. It was a great show. And it was a blessing and it was a fucking curse, because the TV stations figured out that the news would get big ratings. So at that point, what did they do? They started making money with commercials, you know, selling fucking airtime. And basically from that point on, journalism has slowly eroded away. It's a lot more obvious today. When I was a kid, it was bullshit, but it wasn't nearly as obvious as it is when you watch it today. Now, Trump called CNN fake news. I agree. I think CNN is full of shit. But I'm going to add a caveat. I think they're all fucking fake news. I think MSNBC's fucking fake. I think CNN's fake. I think Fox News is fucking fake. And I think a lot of people will disagree with me, because whatever side of the aisle or political side of the political spectrum you're on, you have your channel. So normally, obviously, right-wing or conservatives, they watch Fox News. Left-wings, liberals, they watch MSNBC or maybe CNN. So they would disagree. Like, no. What I watch, that's the true shit. I'm telling you right now, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. They're completely full of shit. And you know what? I can't really say they're completely full of shit. But their information goes through a filter. It has a spin to it. And it's depends on what topic they're covering. I think the easiest one to explain to the viewing cunts out there is, if you notice, when we talk about guns in the press, doesn't matter if it's Fox News or MSNBC, guns are either guns are the problem, or universal background checks, not having them or having them as the problem. And very rarely do you hear about mental health. And you do hear about that. But we never discuss the effects of pharmaceutical antidepressants on the psyche of Americans. There's tens of millions of fucking Americans right now, today, on antidepressants. Every single fucking day. Years ago, I was prescribed an antidepressant. I subscribed Lexapro. And I was on it, I would say, for a week or under. And just for that week, it made me fucking crazy. I was having dreams that were so fucking vivid that I would wake up fucking breathing heavy and all this other shit, and I felt really numb to shit. I didn't really feel like I had emotions. And I immediately stopped that shit. I was like, fuck this. And the reason I was taking it is because in the winter time, sometimes I get like a winter depression. I forget what it's called. It's like a certain term. But antidepressants aren't good for you. Now, I'm not a fucking scientist, but they're just not good. Now, these pharmaceutical companies that push this shit, they push it through commercials. I mean, we've all seen the fucking commercials, right? It's a sunny day, and there's a fucking woman and a man, and they're having a great time. They're walking their fucking dog. They're jumping around. They're playing in the fucking water. All this shit, right? And it depends on whatever this fucking shit is curing. It's insomnia. It's depression. It's your asshole. It's your twat. It's your prick. Something it's curing. And then at the end of the commercial is a fucking laundry list of side effects. And believe it or not, if you pay attention, a lot of the times, death is one of the fucking side effects. Hallucinations are a side effect. When you get a gun, they don't ask you if you're on fucking antidepressants. Okay? So a lot of these people that shoot up fucking schools and shit, they find out, hey, they were on antidepressants. But what does this have to do with the mainstream media? You never hear them talk about this because they're constantly fucking paying these TV stations to advertise their fucking poison on their stations. And if any one of these fucking so-called journalists gets out of line and questions this shit, they're going to get a talking to. Or they're going to get fired. So you're not getting the real fucking news. Now, I thought that maybe I would tell the people out there what you should and shouldn't listen to or read. And I think that's a little ridiculous. I read a bunch of shit as news-wise, and I watch a bunch of shit, and I don't fucking believe everything I hear. I try to watch different perspectives. I watch people that have a left side perspective, people that have a right side perspective, but you always have to question every single fucking thing you read or hear on the news. And I know it's fucking exhausting. And a lot of people out there, they may have kids, jobs. They don't have fucking time to do this research. And that's fair enough. I get it. But unfortunately, we live at a time when a lot of our fucking news is bullshit. Total bullshit. One word of advice I do have, though, is what people tend to do is they have a worldview. You know, they lean more liberal, more conservative. So what they do is they only read or watch shit that will agree with them. And you can't do that. That's called confirmation bias. You have to be open to all fucking ideas. And if you're not, you're doing yourself a fucking disservice. It's that simple. So at the end of the fucking day, don't believe a single fucking thing you hear on the news. Nothing. Zero. Cock. The only really thing that you can believe is the scores of fucking sports games. That's it. So, in closing, nothing. Believe nothing. Now, this has been the 13th episode of Knuckle Deep Thoughts. And I wanted to ask you guys out there if you have any topics that you'd want me to cover. You know, I'm a huge horseshit artist. I like to bullshit about everything. I got opinions about a lot of shit. And if you'd like to hear my opinion on a certain fucking thing, I have no problem being open to that fucking idea. So go ahead, put that shit in the comment section. Or, you know, you can kiss my ass. I always enjoy that. Say how much you like the show. Or say how much you hate the fucking show. Either or. I'll take it into consideration. I won't be a cunt. A lot of people are cunts about it. But just subscribe to the fucking channel. Alright? That's pretty much the most important thing. Either that or go fuck yourself.